Hey, this is Wednesday 13, and you are watching CMS TV.
It is Chris Akin Presents, and I, of course, am Chris Akin, and I am thrilled to be talking some metal with this guy. I am a big fan for a long time. The band, of course, is Leatherwolf. They are back after way too long away with a new release called Kill the Hunted. It is out on November 11th, and here to talk all about it is the drummer and the guy from Leatherwolf himself, Mr. Dean Roberts. Dean, how are you?
I'm good. How you doing? Hello, everybody. Glad to finally be talking about this record.
Absolutely.
The world.
Well, dude, let's get right into it, man. Kill the Hunted. Fantastic stuff, man. As I was telling you before we got started, to me, it sounds like classic Leatherwolf. So why don't we start there, man? It's been a long time since we last had a full-length Leatherwolf record. So kind of fill in the blanks. Where did you guys go? Where did the band go? Where'd you go?
How do I? So you know, Leatherwolf at the end of the day, mainly most of the cool songs were written by Jeff Gayer.
Right.
And you know, when we got back together in '99 and started playing a couple shows and going to Europe and play with the original guys, when it came time to make a record, the only ones that showed up were me and Jeff.
Okay.
So we made that record, and then we went out to promote it, and you know, Wade had parted ways with him. So then we let Mikey sing on it, which I kind of regret now. And went out on tour, and then things just fell apart with Jeff. And then Mike and Carrie wanted to basically get rid of Jeff and see what we could do. And so basically from then on, I had to make a decision if I wanted to do it or not. But at the end of the day, Mike and Carrie really just don't write.
Okay.
At all, you know, so I got stuck sitting around doing Leatherwolf stuff, you know, just playing shows, just more as a, you know, hey, you know, we'll go play shows and this and that. And then, so years go by, we do our thing, and we go to Europe and play a show for Rock Hard, and Yop asks us to make a record.
Okay.
And so we start making it, and Mike Oliveri tells me he wants to make this record with two new guys, and he doesn't want me to write. And so I already own the trademark. I've been paying for everything forever, so I just said, "Make this."
Yeah, right.
I'm done with you, dude. You know. And plus, we were going to go on tour and play. Me and Carrie were going to fund the Street Ready 30-year deal. Go to Europe, play 15 shows, and Mikey wanted to get paid.
Right.
You know, and he wanted to own the trademark.
Yeah. No.
And so I'd already done this to protect myself, because Mikey never paid a dime for anything.
Right.
You know, he was just I think he just liked being in Leatherwolf because he got to be famous or whatever. I mean, to me, Leatherwolf never was really that popular. So I just parted ways with him, you know. So after that, I just went back to Carrie, and I said, "Hey, dude, here's a song that I arranged and I wrote the drum parts for, which was turned out to be called Nobody." Okay. And he came up with a good riff, and he came up with some really good ideas for the song. So I said, okay, you know, I could do this, you know. And I was already done with Mike, so I just started talking to my friends about younger singers that could sing.
Sure.
And then Carrie wanted to use Jeff. So here we go back to Jeff Gayer, who he's a phenomenal player. He's a phenomenal writer. You know, he's at a different level than most people on this planet when it comes to playing guitar and writing, you know, all those riffs, which Carrie and Mike aren't even close.
Sure.
And, you know, so when we started doing this thing with him, now I know why Carrie went back to him, because Carrie doesn't have to do anything. Jeff can do everything, you know?
Sure.
And so, so we got down the road, and things just didn't work out with me and Jeff. So I just, after I finished the drums and finished the bass, I was stuck in a spot to where I had to make a choice, you know?
Right.
So me and Robbie and the singer were already working on this stuff, and we just decided to finish it because we already had the drums and the bass done, so we couldn't stop, and we already had spent the money at that point.
Sure. Mm-hmm.
So from there out, then we found Barry Sparks. You know Barry?
I do know Barry from Dockin.
Well, he's like because I've always played with the same guys, and so
right.
Playing with that type of bass player just really opened my eyes to how much at a different level of playing that dude is,
Oh, yeah.
And plus he's the nicest guy on the planet, So once I got done with the drums and I got the bass lines, I just go, man, this is pretty gnarly,
Right.
And then so me and Robbie started talking, and we just agreed that we're going to finish this, So Robbie did probably 99% of all the guitars on this album.
Okay.
And then we got a couple people like George Lynch and Joel Holstra to do some stuff. And there's some stuff that didn't make this record that's going to be released next year that they're on,
Okay.
But it was kind of cool working with those guys. They got a different vibe. You start learning, clean, talented guys that got their own vibe, where you can just hear them play and know it's them. That was
Sure.
just cool for me,
Right.
because I was just kind of sort of used to just middle of the road mediocre players,
Okay.
recording and stuff, because this was the last record that I recorded was the live record, and then before that was World Asylum,
Right.
Which at the end of the day, I've just been paying for everything, trying to keep this thing going,
Mm-hmm.
So in a nutshell, that's the history of that, and
Right.
This production was kind of fun. And so, what songs do you like?
I like Kill the Hunted a lot. I like The Henchman a lot. I like Hit the Dirt a lot. I mean, I think those are, I know you said you didn't, that Hit the Dirt was probably your least favorite. I'm surprised by that because it's such a good tune, man.
Well, it's not that it's okay. So hit Kill the Hunted. I wrote that.
Okay.
I even played the guitar during the first part and the verses.
Right.
And I wrote that riff, like 2006, but I couldn't get the original guys to do anything with it. They didn't like it. So this time it came around, and me and Robbie started working on it a bit, and I wrote the words and the melodies, and it turned out the story was about the ending of Leatherwolf.
Okay.
Tripping on. But it was just kind of cool that I got the opportunity to write something, and that you even like it. It's kind of cool for me. I just go, I wonder what I could have done back in the days when we were actually making Leatherwolf records with the real guys.
Sure. Well, the interesting thing, and you and I talked about before we got started, though, is I think maybe just because you've been in Leatherwolf basically for the whole run, whatever you write is going to have that vibe to it. And this stuff, I mean, the songs that I mentioned, or even probably my favorite song on the record is Madhouse. I love that. That's classic Leatherwolf sounding. It sounds like anything you could pick that out and put it pretty much anywhere on any record, and it fits.
Which part? The leads?
Yeah.
That's Robbie Math, man. He just, it just fascinates me that somebody that could do that. And then right. Someone would listen to the song, and just go, that's so Leatherwolf. When officially, Jeff came up with the riffs, he came up with the arrangement, and Keith wrote the vocals, and I just did my drum parts and put my stuff in it. But Robbie, there's something about Rob Math, that you can just, get in the mode and do, and be the man. And still stay in the Leatherwolf family of the history of our music,
Sure, definitely.
Yeah, Madhouse. So that was another one. We're shooting some videos next week, and we were trying to decide what's the second song,
Right.
And Chris, our manager, was going, well, I think it should be Madhouse, and I'm going, oh man, because I got a broken wrist. So I got a metal plate in here, so I can't really play,
Okay.
So there's two fills in it that I just can't play.
Right.
So I was going, I got to pick a song that I can actually play.
Nice. Or use some studio magic to make it look like you're playing. That could be it too, with a video.
Well, it's just, you don't want to, when you got a bar in your wrist and you got screws in it, you don't want to you don't want to cause more damage just by trying to play a drum fill, you know?
True. Yeah. Very true, man.
You know,
well, Dean, you know, obviously, you know, you mentioned that Mike left the band or you helped him leave the band, we'll say, but you brought in this new singer, Keith what is it, Adamiak and
Adamiak. Yeah.
He is fantastic, man. Where did you find this guy?
Okay. Just so people know the history of the Leatherwolf deal, me and Carrie and Jeff started this thing, and we couldn't find a singer. Now, Mikey was a friend of Jeff's from high school, and he was an average guitar player, and but he was an extremely good musician. He had serious musical skills, you know, and so we couldn't find a singer. So Mikey, he knew all the scales. He knew what singing in key was. He knew roots, thirds, fifths, the whole deal. You know, he knew the stuff. So he just learned how to become a singer, you know. And but it was by pretty much we couldn't find one.
Okay.
You know, so to me, I was never really fully happy about that aspect. Nothing personal. It's just that I always, you know, like Bruce Dickinson, freaking Rob Halford, you know, those type of guys, Sammy Hagar, you know, Peter Gabriel, guys that can sit in the middle of a track and they could fill it with just the beauty of their voice, you know?
Right, sure.
And I just never got that vibe from Mike Oliveri at all. But, you know, bands of democracy, whatever the vote is what it is.
Right.
So as this thing was going down with me, you know, parting ways with Mike because of his behavior, I was sitting there learning how to use Superior Drummer because this particular record, I was trying to write my parts in my head and put them down on Superior Drummer and then go learn how to play them, which was a freaking nightmare, dude, because my head is much better than my hands are.
Right.
You know, but I actually was able to pull it off, you know, but it just taught me a lesson. So I was dealing with this guy named Jake, and he was a younger guy that was recording younger bands. And so he knew two singers, and he played this, he just sent me some links to some kids. They're not kids, they're young men, okay? They're young men. and I thought that one of them had some range. I just it was a different type of music, but you know, when you're older and younger, it's the way it's always going to be. So I have Jake call the guy, and then within 2 days he came over, and then he sang. Me and Robbie were kind of you know the song "Only the Wicked." You like it?
Yeah, I do.
Well, Mikey had done the original version, which just didn't make the cut. So I went in and rearranged it. And then me and Robbie were sitting up at 2 a.m, just trying to figure out the melodies and stuff. And it turns out, you know, I had the story, I had the words. Because, you know, during this whole falling apart of the original guys, I'd been doing a lot of writing, you know. And so I actually had a page where Robbie he came up with the verse. Melody, and then I couldn't sleep. I had 1,000 things running through my mind, trying to forget the things to drive. Oh, it works. You know, so we're sitting there doing it, and then we sent it to Keith, and he came over and he sang it, and he just, you know, my wife comes in and she goes, you know, dude, you're not going any farther. He's the guy. Right. So I said, okay. You know, and so it was pure luck, dude.
Sure.
And, you know, he's a positive guy. He writes good stories. He's not like I run, I hide, poor me kind of story writer. You know, sad and lonely road. He's not that guy. You know,
right?
Which I'm more on the side of, you know, let's just take control and deliver. You know, like, you know, I've come to take what's mine. You know,
right? Absolutely, man.
And so he started singing and started doing stuff, and then it just went from there, and we just realized, okay, this kid he's the man, you know, he's the guy. Sure. Plus, he can write,
which is a bonus.
You know? Well, yeah, because I started writing for the song "Nobody" and for the Henchman, you know, and then he came and wrote, and it just blew my stuff away, you know, and I was just like, cool. It's kind of different about when you're writing songs. Sometimes you can hit a home run and sometimes you can't, you know?
Sure. Definitely, man. I hear you. Well, one of the tunes that I'm loving that I think is a home run. It doesn't sound like you do, but I love "Hit the Dirt," man. I think it's a great tune. You guys put out a lyric video for this tune. I figured what we could do is take a little break here, and we'll let people hear a piece of it and see it. So let's do it right now. This is "Hit the Dirt." It is Leatherwolf, and we'll be back with Dean Roberts right after this. This. All right, and here we go. We'll come right back. That was "Hit the Dirt," brand new material from Leatherwolf, their new release, "Kill the Hunted," out on November the 11th. And we are talking with the drummer of the band, the main guy of the band, Mr. Dean Roberts. And Dean, obviously, man, you have a new record after a long time away. You have a new band. You have all the pieces together. The big question that everybody asks is, are we going to see Leatherwolf? Is there going to be opportunities to get out there and tour? I know a lot of your guys are in other things as well. So is there possibility of seeing a show or shows or festivals or any of that stuff?
Yes, we're going to play shows, but
okay.
when it comes to the "Hit the Dirt" thing, it's not that it's not my favorite song. It's when we were writing the songs, you go through the melodies before you start putting drums and stuff down. And "Hit the Dirt" just was like kind of a sleeper to me.
Okay.
Until Robbie said, "Hey, you know what? I like the chorus." And once we put the chorus at the intro and the end, then I think it started turning into something.
Sure.
So it started off being not so good, and not that it was bad, but then it turned into something that was pretty cool.
Right.
And the reason I released that is because I kind of wanted to do something different than The Calling or Hideaway. I just wanted to do something that was simple and something that was just a punch to the face, And
right.
that song is that,
Yeah. No, it definitely
is.
It's
not that it's my least favorite. It's just, there's so many other songs that are just freaking phenomenal on there,
Right. Well, which one would you pick if you were handing the record to somebody and you said, "Okay, this is the definitive song on this record"? Which song would you pick?
I don't know. I think like the two most radio friendly songs are probably "Only the Wicked" and "Kill the Hunted."
Mm-hmm.
But I think too, like, "The Henchman's" a classic little deal, and I think even "Evil Empires" it's kind of a redo of the "Kill and Kill Again,"
Right. Mm-hmm.
And "You Hit the Dirt's" pretty good, and the "Nobody" I kind of like that one too. Only the men that sold the world. I thought that was pretty good.
Sure.
But it's like an impossible question because I didn't spend almost 3 years on behind these songs, putting them together, building them, getting them right. So it's tricky.
Right. It definitely is. And you mentioned "Evil Empire's Fall." That's a cool song, man. It's probably the one track on the album, if I was reviewing it, that I would say is different than everything else. It definitely has a somewhat different vibe to it. But man, what a cool groove of a track, man. So good.
Well, that's another Jeff Gayer deal. He called me and he goes, I'm kind of feeling "Kill and Kill Again-ish,"
Right.
And then, so we did the deal. Me and Robbie came up with different ideas for the bridges and for some of the verses and for the middle section. And then Keith wrote the verses, and then me and Keith and Roy Z just did some finagling about the chorus,
Okay.
because the chorus turned out to be 4 different choruses before it ended up there,
Okay.
And there was something about that one. Even when I handed it off to Randy Burns, there was still more words in there for the chorus. I said, Randy, just do whatever you want.
Right.
You got all the words in there. Just cut the fluff out of it.
Right. Sure. No
And
doubt.
it was too funny because you got that whole Putin thing going down,
Mm-hmm.
and then you start thinking about the evil empires around the world, and you start getting, it's just kind of sad that people behave that way.
Mm-hmm.
But at the end of the day, the evil that men carry, it just needs to be addressed and gotten rid of, and I just think it's a bummer that people have to die over it,
Right. No, it's crazy.
It's a weird culture where that stuff goes down,
Right. Well,
because I lived next to some Russians.
Okay.
And in the 90s, he had to escape, and so he couldn't tell his family or nothing, and he had to dodge the secret police. And you could just tell, dude, it's not a happy life for some people.
Right. It's weird when you hear those stories, because we put whatever we put weight wise on our lives, and we think, well, this is good or this is bad or whatever. But there's always somebody that just has a story that's a little bit worse, and you don't realize it till you actually hear it. And then you're like, oh, well, I guess this isn't so bad,
I don't know. It's just the thing about life. You get comfortable in these stories and the TVs, and then you might get a little off track about what the truth is, about things.
Sure.
So even with this record for me, I had to confront some truths about, love and relationships, and I had to make some decisions that weren't easy.
Right.
But if you want to, deal with evil in your life, you really need to make some changes.
Right on. No, you're 100% right, man. Well, Dean, we mentioned touring a little bit there.
Okay, so back to that.
Yeah.
So we've always wanted to tour, but you got to get an agent,
Mm-hmm.
and it's we got Sullivan Biggs, we got a couple people, but it's always the the old school platinum acts that get to play these shows,
Sure.
And there's not many like the Anthrax. Well, Anthrax is way more successful, but they get the shows. But like
Hellstar or whatever.
Yeah. When you get to go down there, it's hard for those guys to get shows. And just like for Leatherwolf, it's who's like us, and how many people are we going to draw? How many shows can we play?
Right.
We've always wanted to play more than we got an opportunity to play.
Sure.
So.
Is the festival scene kind of the way that it works? Maybe not the Vakken, but maybe like M3 here in the States. That seems like a good spot for a band like Leatherwolf.
Well, we played it this year.
Right. That's what
and it was through Sullivan, and it's the first time in Leatherwolf that we got to play festivals in the US,
right?
Which is kind of trippy, huh?
Yeah.
We've been around forever, and we never got the opportunity. And all of a sudden, I get a phone call to go play these 2 shows. Unfortunately, the Rock Timber was kind of a bummer because I couldn't play it.
Right. Well,
but we always want to play. Hopefully we're hoping that this record does something. It catches a little bit of ground, so we can get a little bit more popular, and some people actually want to see us. Because when we go to the shows, there's definitely Leatherwolf fans out there, and they're definitely happy to see us, and they're definitely, okay with all the new guys,
Mm-hmm. Oh yeah, it's funny that we have a adjacent radio station to the TV portion, and the guy that runs the station, his name is Corey. He's the biggest Leatherwolf fan in the world. He's not going to believe. He's going to be like, me interviewing you, I might as well be interviewing Keith Richards, because he's such a big Leatherwolf fan. But that to the bigger point on that, there's a lot of people that are out there that never got to experience Leatherwolf and not just Leatherwolf, but a lot of the bands that just didn't get the love from the record companies or the radio stations back in the day. I think now, in where all the media is kind of in your hands, I think a lot of bands like yours are finding traction because we didn't get burned out on it. You know, it's like we've heard the name a bunch of times. We didn't burn out on it, and then we listened to it. We're like, man, this is fucking good. You know, and it really almost introduces you almost as a new band with some reputation. Do you see that?
It's really hard for me to speculate on that stuff because, you know, it's a song and it catches on and you get some popularity, you know, and, you know, I'm just a classic metaler, dude. I like the Deep Purple, the frickin' Rainbow, the frickin' Judas, the Iron Maiden, the Led Zeppelin, you know, even frickin' Jackson 5, even Peter Gabriel and Sammy Hagar and frickin' Montrose, you know. I like all that stuff. I think it's killer, but you know, there's just this aspect of simplicity that seems to catch on to society, you know?
Yeah.
You know, and so it's not that it's a bad thing, but it doesn't really do much for me, you know? So I mean, to me, the reason I do this is because I love to play live and I like to write music.
Right.
And I like to be around guys that I can collaborate with, not get, I'm not writing with you going on, you know, especially since, you know, I've been funding this thing since the beginning, you know, since 1999, you know, I don't need to deal with that stuff. And it's kind of fun. The funnest part of this was sitting in the garage with Robbie and coming up with the parts, coming up with the second guitar lines, coming up with the harmonies, coming up with the melodies, you know, for the triples and stuff, you know, and me and Robbie just sitting there and him doing his thing and me just telling what I thought about it. It was funner than heck, you know, which I never got to do in the past.
Right.
You know?
Right on.
So
Well,
that's the funnest thing for me to do, you know. So if I do this again, I'm just going to do it with people that I have fun with.
Right.
That aren't drama queens, you know.
Right.
That's another agenda to be famous or to be, you know, I'm the original dude or just like,
right.
You know.
Now, if it's not fun, why do it? That's always the theory, especially with music. If it's not fun, why do it? You know, if it's a job.
Well, I rough. It's not fun, but I still do it. But
right.
It is kind of funny jumping on the roof and getting tan and just pounding nails all day, you know? It's an aggression.
Right. It's as metal as it gets.
Pretty much.
Nice. Well, dude, as metal as it gets is also this new release. It is Leatherwolf, Kill the Hunted, out on November the 11th. And Dean, I thought we would wrap this one up with the lyric video for The Henchman, since people can hear that and see that now.
Yeah, so The Henchman was something that was written mainly by Jeff back in, I think it was 81 or 82. So it was an interesting song because I loved it and it never seemed to make the cut. But that song in itself was kind of, as I started sitting with it and just trying to work it out, it was just sad because it was the end of Leatherwolf for me, you know, the original guys. But the song I thought was a classic. It's a classic tune, you know, and Jeff should get some respect for writing the riff and what he did in it, you know, because that song's better than a lot of other songs that are on our records, you know?
Right.
But it's a killer tune, I think.
Absolutely. Well, let's share it with everybody right now. Leatherwolf, one more time. Kill the Hunted. November 11th is the date of the release. Make sure you buy it. Don't just stream it. Please buy it so that it helps these guys out. And Dean, thanks so much for joining me here on Chris Akin Presents.
We'll see you soon in your town. We're coming to play.
Cool.